we're not supposed to be shacking up, we're not supposed to be having kids out of wedlock, we're not supposed to be having sex before marriage, and here we are doing all these things, and then we bring all this chaos and we wonder why things are the way they are. I shouldn't have to control a man. Like, I shouldn't have to tell you how I want to be treated. You should know. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should know. Are we rolling?
This day that God is giving me, I'm not gonna waste this joy deep down inside me. I'm not gonna...
Okay. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I go by Brandy Janelle, and I'm all things motherhood, lifestyle, and faith life. If you are a returning subscriber, hey, welcome back and thank you for coming back. I really appreciate you. In today's video, I'm going to be telling you guys about my faith journey and how I got closer to God and still am getting closer to God. So I'm just excited to be telling y'all how it started and before I started really taking my relationship with God serious. So before we get into the video, make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you like content like this, and also subscribe, join the family. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, so let me just give you guys a little background about my whole journey with the Lord from the beginning. So my family were Christian, of course. We were in the church for sure, but it was mainly like me and my brother. My mom would send us to church every Sunday, even Sundays when we didn't want to go. It was like, go to church, and it was a bus that came to pick us up. But I just don't really remember much. I was young. I didn't really have a relationship the way you would think you're supposed to have a relationship with Christ. It was more so just going to socialize because there was a lot of kids that went there, and I just remember like getting saved, but I didn't exactly know what that meant. Like, I knew there was a God, I knew Jesus Christ existed, but I didn't know much about him. I do remember like memorizing verses from like the Bible, just a couple of them. Like, I still remember them to this day because of that church I went to. But it was just weird because like my parents didn't go to church every Sunday, but we were forced to go every Sunday. Fast forward to like college life, I was a shelter kid, so of course y'all know I was wild in college. Like, not wild, I shouldn't even say it like that because my family gonna be watching this like, what you mean? But it's just, I wouldn't want my daughter to be drinking, smoking, like just messing with the wrong type of guys. Like, I definitely would not recommend that for my daughters at all. But it just didn't, it wasn't giving Christian girl. It wasn't giving Christian. Even changing churches, like as I got older, I went to another church. I was still fairly young. I think I was a teenager. I went to another church where I joined the choir. I went to Sunday school, went to Bible study, like all of that. And I still didn't have that relationship with Christ. It was more so transactional, where I was always asking him for things like, God, please let me get this and blah, blah, blah. Like, it was never like, God, you are amazing. God, you are a way maker. It wasn't me praising him. It was just me always asking for things. And I was like, I really thought that was how it was supposed to go when you have a relationship with God. I thought you just ask and you shall receive, and you don't have to do the legwork. And I was just sending out this world because I always felt like, well, God is a forgiving God, so if he forgives, then I'm automatically going to heaven, so I'm gonna just do what I want to do. And then when it's time for me to face him, I'm going to just tell him, look, you said you're gonna forgive me, you know I love you, like I'll just have to deal with him on judgment day. And that was literally how my mindset was. I was very, 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 very lukewarm. Now that I look back on it, it's just like so embarrassing. Like, I feel so terrible. You gotta grow, you have to learn. When you know better, you do better. So clearly I didn't know better. It wasn't until my mom passed away in 2017 where I got a little bit deeper with my relationship, but it was still rocky. Like, I was grieving, I was still going through things. I wasn't grieving the right way. And I know people say it's not a right or wrong way to grieve, but if you read the Bible, it'll tell you about grieving and how you should go about it. But I wasn't leaning on God the way I should have. Even with my mom, like when she was sick, she passed from brain cancer, and I was taking care of her while I was in school. I could have leaned on God a little bit more. Like, I don't know what was going on there, but I didn't lean on him the way I should have, and I regret that. I mean, obviously our time is our time, but I just felt like I could have talked to him more. But once my mom got sick and then she ended up passing, I feel like I kind of was like going backwards. Like, I was still doing things that you would say right. Like, a lot of people looked at me as like the good girl, the girl that doesn't make bad decisions or blah blah blah, but I definitely did, and I regret a lot of things. But at the same time, that's what shaped me into the woman I am today. Yeah, I was considered the grandma out of my whole friend group, but I still made reckless decisions up until recently. Like, it wasn't until recently, like I'm about to be 30 this year, it wasn't until probably like 2 years ago, not even, where I just was like, all right, like I'm done. I'm officially done acting wild. I'm officially done being lukewarm. I'm officially done with this and that. So along that journey, it came like mountains and hills, peaks and valleys, all of that. And it's just hard when like you don't have that foundation, you don't have that upbringing where they're telling you can't be lukewarm, you got to put God first. I had to make that decision on my own, and it was up to me to break that generational curse. Once she passed and everything, I was making decisions like messing with the wrong guys for the wrong reasons, just to fill a void. So with my relationship now, it was like we knew each other, but we moved absolutely too fast. We moved in with each other, and that was like mistake number one, because with that came a lot of arguing. I was just operating in my masculine energy. I had nothing, like we were shacking up, y'all. Like we were shacking up, and we had a kid out of wedlock. I never thought that I was gonna be the girl that had a kid out of wedlock. Like I always wanted to be married, and that was something that really ate me up. We went through so much in our relationship, and I talked to my cousin about it, and she was like, you know why you're going through all this, right? And I was like, why? She was like, because you doing things backwards. And she was like, she did the same thing. And she was like, we are not doing things the way God intended us to do. Like we're not supposed to be shacking up, we're not supposed to be having kids out of wedlock, we're not supposed to be having sex before marriage, and here we are doing all these things, and then we bring all this chaos, and we wonder why things are the way they are. So once she said that, it was like a light bulb just kind of like flickered in my head, and then that's when I was just like, all right, I can't keep living like this. But then that wasn't even one thing that really set it off. It was really my relationship and how things were going. He thought I was controlling him in a way, and I don't want to get too much into it because I do want to actually sit down and talk with him about this. I felt like he thought that I was controlling him, and he was right. Like I was like, I shouldn't have to control a man. Like I shouldn't have to tell you how I want to be treated. You should know. You know what I'm saying? Like you should know. You know what I'm saying? And he didn't know, and I just was like washing my hands with it. And I told him, I'm just like, you know what, I'm getting closer to God. You still on whatever you on. And I told him, I'm like, God comes before anybody, anything, and I'm not going to hell for nobody. I told him that, like, I'm not going to hell for nobody. So it's either you with me or you ain't. Like, I love you so much. And I just didn't. I never saw myself as a single mom. I never saw myself outside of you after we had kids. But listen, it's either you or God. I'm going to choose God every time. I was like, what you want to do? Because I even told him, I'm just like, I want to be celibate. Like, I don't want to have sex anymore, even though I was big pregnant at the time I decided all this. Like, when I was pregnant with my second child. I just had a baby, by the way. I told him, I'm like, I don't want to do this no more, because I was starting to feel convicted. Like every time we would like get to doing it or whatever, it just did not feel right. Like, and you know, like it's just a waste if it don't feel right. I'm just like, I ain't feeling this. And of course, a man gonna be a man. He gonna feel like he want it, he need it. And I'm just like, it don't feel right. Like it feel like God is looking down on me like, you naughty child, you will not get into the heaven gates. And I just couldn't get with that. And another thing with my relationship is I realized that I was putting my relationship before anything, even like myself, like even with working out, even with just like showing up for myself, because I had just had a baby, Taj, who was 3 now. I had her, and it just went through a whole postpartum depression. Didn't lean on God like I should have, but that was a scary time for me. And I just was like, my relationship, I want my man. I was making him a God, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that was not okay. You know what I'm saying? Like that was something that I battled with. I really battled with that because I was putting him first before everything. That's just something that I'm gonna teach my daughters, like, do not do that. Put God first. Eventually I just was like, I gotta wash my hands with it. Like I was really over this man. Like I didn't like him, he did not like me, and I was just like, you know what, you know who do like me? God. So that's when I really started to turn it up with God. Like I was just like, you know what, I'm washing my hands with it. Lord, this is you. Only you can change this man. So I will always pray for him every single morning. Every time I dropped Taj off at school, I would pray for him. Like I would just say, like, Lord, fix his heart's posture. That was the biggest thing when I pray. Like, fix his heart's posture and make him the man that you want your daughter to be with. And I would pray it every single day, even when things got ugly, even when things just didn't look like it was gonna turn around. I still prayed to him. I said, Lord, please, because I do want to be with my baby daddy. At the time, he was my baby daddy. Technically, he was my boyfriend too, but baby daddy, whatever. He wasn't my husband. So, which was fairly not my vibe. Like I just did not want to be, no shade to nobody that's out there that's in this situation, but I just didn't want to be somebody's baby mama. Like I thought about situations where it's like, if I'm in the hospital or he's in the hospital, we can't make those decisions for each other. It's our parents that can make the decision. And it didn't sit right with me. But I also felt like at the time we weren't ready for marriage. When I sat down, had that talk with him, like, it's either, you know, you or God, make the decision, because I'm telling you, I'm being celibate. And I was like, are you down or not? Because we can start getting things together. Like you could, you know, pack up and you could leave. He was like, I'm down. And I was like, like, all right, we'll see. So he started getting into his Bible. Like I was sending him like videos on TikTok about God. I just started to see like this crazy change, and I knew for a fact, because when I tell y'all, I ain't never cried this much in my life. Even when my mom passed, like I didn't cry as much as I did in my relationship. Like I cried so much, like I was just hurt after hurt after hurt. Like I'm just like, I didn't recognize myself. So once I did turn it up with God, and I just started putting him first and reading my Bible, going to church with my friends, and really just indulging in it and just washing my hands with it, that's when he started to come around like more and just like be the man that I've always wanted him to be. Like, because I knew he had it in him. It was just, he was fighting some demons. He was really fighting demons, and I could tell, but I didn't want to fight them with him. I didn't, because I had my own stuff I had to fight. And I get it, he wasn't my husband, so technically I didn't have to fight them demons with him. Now we're gonna fight them together, because we're past that. Fast forward to when I'm like about to have a baby, kind of like I knew things had changed when he started asking me to go to church. He started asking me questions about God. Like he will randomly call me like, hey, is it a sin to wear designer clothes? Like he would just ask me questions about God and all of that, and I was just like, this is my man. Like God is amazing. Like I couldn't shake it. I could not shake it. And I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe my ears. I couldn't believe my eyes. This man had changed before my eyes. And that's not even the best part. So for his birthday, I bought him a Bible, and my man does not read. When I met him, I was like, you want to read this book? I have so many books that I wanted him to read. And I was just like, if I buy him a Bible, I know he's not going to touch it. But I made sure I got him the NLT version, and he actually started reading it. Like that man would go in his room with his Bible, and he would shut the door, and I would hear him reading it. And it was at one point where I remember him being like, when he used to talk to his best friend, he would be saying, you know, N-word this. Like they wouldn't talk about nothing. They talk about fashion, and you know, they wouldn't talk about nothing. But now I hear him on the phone talking about God. Like he was like, bro, did you know that, you know, Peter did this? And I was just like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe what I'm hearing right now. I cannot believe this. But at the same time, I can, because God is going to work every single time you reach out to him and you do the legwork. So fast forward to my baby shower, I noticed his behavior changing. He started going outside less, and he not like an outside, like I'm in the club all the time. He not like that. He'll go out occasionally. But even that didn't sit right with me, because I'm telling you, I'm changing. Like I don't even listen to the same music I used to listen to. I don't even hang out with the same people. I'm trying not to curse. I don't, you know, everything just, it aligns with God now, and I'm not perfect. But when he say he going out, I be trying to tell him like, look, it's temptation outside. You gotta be able to control that. Like, is you gonna do that? So he stopped going outside. Like it was just little stuff that I would see changes in, and I'm like, this man heard me. Not only did this man hear me, but that man heard me. Fast forward to my baby shower, he ended up proposing. And in his speech, he was like, I've been getting closer to God. And that just really touched my soul. We were both boohoo and we were weeping. I'm gonna link the video below, but it was just that little line, I've been getting closer to God. And he proposed to me. And that was literally the moment where I was just like, nothing but God. Fast forward to when I'm about to have my baby, he was like, I want to get married like right now. Like I don't want to wait. I don't want to have to plan a wedding. I don't want to have to do any of that, because I want to do the right thing. I want to get married because I no longer want to, number one, I don't want you to give birth and a baby comes out of wedlock. Even though we conceived out of wedlock, I want her to come into this world with married parents, for one. And then he was like, I don't want to keep shacking up without being married. Let's do it now. Like let's do it the godly way. So we did that. We didn't worry about planning a wedding. Like we'll do a celebration later on. But I love that he came to me with that. Like it wasn't me, it was him. He was like, let's go get married now. And it wasn't because I want to be with you. It was more so, of course he wants to be with me, but his first thought was, I want to please God. And that man, I could have gave him another baby even though I was still pregnant. I was like, Lord, this man is really a changed man. And now he reads his Bible more than I do. And I'm just like, and it's certain things that I'll do, and he'll check me on it. He'll be like, that ain't of God. He'll get on the Bible app, he'll do this, he'll do that, and he'll like educate himself on a certain topic. And I'm just like, I cannot believe it. But like I said, it took some time to get to that journey, but it took some breaking. Like I had to really get broken down. Like I was broken down more than I ever been broken down in my life. But then when I finally just released and let God just control every narrative in my life, that's when things really started to just take off in my life. When I let go, my man changed for the better. I got engaged. I gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. like everything just started aligning. Not to mention, when I started talking about God on my platform, this is even when I was going through whatever I was going through in my relationship, I started talking about God, my content started taking off. Every time I talk about God, when I have a message, I post it and it takes off. So I'm just like, I think this is my calling. That's why I added, I don't really like to say niches, but I'm all about motherhood lifestyle, and that's why I added faith life on there, because I'm gonna talk about God every chance that I get, okay? Because he is a way maker and he's done so much in my life, and it just, I know that it's touching me in a different way, because it's things that I think about that I did in my past and I cry about it because I'm just so embarrassed. I'm so sad that I did this to my father. Like, I really disappointed him. My journey is still a journey, y'all. It really is, and every day I'm trying to get better. There are days when I curse, there are days when I get angry, there are days I'm gonna sin, but it's all about knowing better and doing better. Like, do I curse as much as I used to? Not at all. I'm doing better because I know better. So my journey is still an ongoing journey. It's always going to be a journey as long as I live. I'm telling you, like, the spirit lives in me. And then I also have Christ-like friends. That's another thing that really helps me, is having Christ-like friends. And I prayed about it. It's not just something like, oh, I'm going to pick you as my friend, I'm going to pick you. It came with a lot of prayer, because don't get me wrong, I love my oldest friends, but at the same time, we're just on different levels. Like, some of my friends don't have kids, so they wouldn't understand exactly how I feel. So I prayed for mom friends, and not only mom friends, but mom friends that love Christ. I went on a spiritual retreat, and when I tell you, it moved me so much. And the two women that I fellowship with that invited me have kids, and they just make me feel so warm inside, because every conversation is about God. Every conversation is uplifting. Every conversation is a prayer. One of my sisters, I call them my sisters, of course. One day I was going through it and I text my friend Dom. I was like, can you please pray for me? That's all I said. And she literally sent me a long voice audio. And I was just like, these are my people. I leveled up in life. No, I'm not gonna cut off my friends. That's just an opportunity for me to share what I'm learning about Christ and what I'm learning about relationships and what I'm learning about being righteous. I can share to my other friends, and they also can teach me, because my friends love Christ, first of all, but we just move a little different. Like, they thought I was a grandma then, they gonna think I'm a super granny now. But it's not even about being a grandma. It's more so just doing the right thing, like following what God wants you to do and not being lukewarm, because lukewarm does not get you into heaven. And like I said before, we show out for the world. Like, everything is worldly if you think about it, and we've been so brainwashed that we forget that it's made up. A lot of this stuff is made up. Like, we forget to live by the Bible laws. We too busy following governed laws that we forget about the biblical laws, and we're brainwashed. And it's so hard to come up out of that, because it's like when you're born into it, and then it's just something that's normal to you, and then when you finally come to a halt and realize this ain't right, because in the Bible this says this, and so you have to rewire your brain to do the right thing, and it's very difficult. It's a beautiful feeling when you do come into yourself, and I feel like I'm coming into myself. I feel like I'm meeting the right people, and I love the woman that I'm becoming. I just owe it all to God. Like, God. He's amazing. I don't even know, amazing is just like, for lack of better words, like, he is just can't even explain to y'all what he is to me, because it's just there's no word to even define. But that's just a little bit of my journey and how things have been. I do want to get deeper into my relationship with y'all and how we went from toxic to, you know, and we'll sit down and talk about it. You know, he gonna get on camera with me, we're gonna talk about it. In the meantime, in between time, I'm so glad that you watched this video. I hope that I inspired you. I hope that you can continue to just really move forward in your journey with the Lord, because trust me, it is worth it. It's not easy. It is not an easy journey, because if it was, everybody would be doing it. But baby, I'm here for you, because like I said, God is still working on me, okay? I'm just glad to share my story with you all and continue to share my journey with y'all, and I hope that something moved you and helped you in my message. So with that being said, I will see you all in my next video. I love you all, but don't forget, God loves you immensely.
This day that God has given me, I'm not gonna waste.